for both of you, what is the plan for Brandon Aiyuk, and do you envision a scenario in which he's on this team next year? If so, what would that look like?
Yeah. The plan in terms of the transaction, that will come in due time. I think it's safe to say that he's played his last snap with the Niners. It's unfortunate, situation that just went awry. And, I will look long and hard at, what could have been done differently, but sometimes just doesn't work out. And I think that this was a case where that happened.
I had a follow-up on Bren. It's a guy that you guys made a big investment into. And I know, Kyle, you said that after his injury, it was tough to get him in here and get involved, but it's kind of an unprecedented move for him to forfeit that kind of money. Have you been able to determine why he was so upset, why he wasn't showing up, and just any background you can give on that?
I wish I knew. Can't help you there. Sorry. Yeah.
Has there been a line of communication with him?
There was, but not anymore.
At what point did that snap?
Well, when I'm coaching, I don't hang out in the training room at all. So I don't see guys much that way. But I'd say it officially stopped for me when the last time I tried to get a hold of him and couldn't. And then tried a couple more times and still couldn't. And then that matched everyone else that was trying to get a hold of him and couldn't. And eventually, there's not much of an explanation because it's really hard for us and anyone else to understand. And that's why it's something I've never seen in 22 years of coaching. So it's unfortunate. And it's confusing because it's confusing for all of us. So, but it eventually becomes, it is what it is. And you try as hard as you can to fix something that you don't understand. But it's not like we understand it very well still. But eventually you understand that it's not going to change and you got to move on with your football team, which is always the most important thing.
Hey, guys, when you look at the roster positionally, what do you circle as your biggest needs heading into the offseason?
Yeah, I think, in the day and age of football these days, it is, yes, you have a core of players, and we love our core. And we just talked about the draft class that came in, the youth on this football team. But it's always starting at ground zero. There's a lot of attrition in this league. There always is. And so Kyle spoke of it. I let him coach the team. And, man, did he this year. It was unbelievable what he did leading our team. Couldn't be more proud to work with someone, and I try to leave Kyle to do that because that's a huge job. We're always having conversations, but it's not fair to talk about those things. We've been working on them. We'll have a lot of work, a lot of conversations to prepare him for this offseason. Not going to get into specifics, but we just need to continue to improve this team and get better, and that's exactly what we intend to do. We're real excited about that opportunity.
With Ricky, are there things he needs to do in the offseason to put himself in a better position to be more available and to withstand some of these tougher hits?
Yeah, I thought he did that last offseason, though. I thought Ricky had an awesome offseason last year, or this year. He got through all of training camp. Was one of our few wideouts who did all of training camp, I think minus the first 5 days. And I thought he went into the season as ready, much more ready than the year prior. Added some weight, was able to get through a training camp because he did train the right way. And that's why I thought he went into those first few weeks of the season ready to go. I think if you guys saw the film or you saw his stats, the stats did match the film. I think he was leading the league in a lot of categories before he got hurt, I want to say versus Jacksonville. And then he landed on his knee in the wrong way. And when you land on your knee in the wrong way and you hurt your PCL, sometimes that can last a week. Like Puka last year, sometimes it can last 7 weeks. And then when you do come back and you land on it again, it happens again. So can he prepare to not land on his knee? No. So he's trying to too. What do I got to do different? I'm like, so let's talk about what you did do, and then let's talk about what happened. And so I think the main thing from last year is, man, what can we do to come back from that faster? When you do come back, what can we do to maybe not redo it so it doesn't linger? Because, I mean, when it was said and done, Ricky played as Ricky for, I'd say, 4 games this year, even though I think he might have dressed in 8, but he was Ricky for 4 games, and that didn't have to do with how he went into this year. That had to do with an injury that he had in week 4, and those are tough to overcome. But I think he found the right way last year and keep adding to it.
Yeah, you said the last 2 games in Seattle. They give you kind of a measuring stick as far as where you want to be, where you need to be, as far as the roster, or is it just 2 games in terms of the big picture?
I think anytime that teams are got a better record than you, teams that beat you, especially when it comes to guys in your division, and say the same thing when we watched the Super Bowl last year and you see Philly. I mean, you'll say it if an AFC team wins, So it's always closer to home when it's in your division, and their last 2 games versus us the way it went, but. Always the best teams, which they are one of them right now. We'll see how it ends up. That's always who you're trying to stack yourself against to catch.
You guys have always put an emphasis on the defensive front since you got here. So when you when you have the league lowest sacks, which is 20, and obviously Bosa and Williams going out hurts, but does that make you revisit just how the scheme is or what other personnel you got to bring in, and how much of a priority is that going to be this offseason?
I think we look at everything there. I will tell you, I don't think it was scheme, related. Yes, everything ties together, rushing coverage, all of those things. Certain players you never want to make excuses, but certain players are it's not only their impact, they're force multipliers. They make everybody else around them better. And I think Nick was that. I think Michael was just catching on. We've got to be better there. We understand that. That's always been at the forefront of our philosophy, to make life miserable on opposing quarterbacks and to wreak havoc. And we need to do better there, and we intend on doing that.
You guys had a few years where you were among the fastest teams in the league. I think this year the numbers were, definitely lower on that front. Is improving team speed a priority? Is that something you guys think you need more of this year?
Yes, definitely. I mean, being fast helps. Being good helps. There's lots of ways to do it, but you'd love it balanced out perfectly with your whole team, offensively, defensively, special teams. But we definitely noticeably we're slower this year than we have been in years past. That sometimes that's substituted for a better football player. That doesn't mean you're always worse because of that. But it is. You definitely need more speed out there. To handle things week in and week out for some of the situations that come up for certain schemes and certain defenses, certain offenses too.
Just a few housekeeping things. Are there any injuries from the final game that guys, I know Jake Tonjes, Nick Martin, are there any guys that are going to have procedures during the offseason?
Nick was in the protocol, and I think he's been improving, but the protocol's the protocol. We hope to have him clear here soon.
Said he was.
If not, I think he did today, but I wanted to be careful. Yeah, I think he cleared this morning.
Tonjes was 3 weeks.
Yeah, plantar fascia.
Christian had a stinger. He'll be all right from
From the game, anything else?
Alfred with his shoulders. He might possibly have to look into surgery. Alfred Collins.
Alfred Collins.
Yeah, shoulder went out in the game. We don't have an exact timetable on it, but we're hoping around training camp.
And he's tracking really good. He's doing great.
So.
Yeah.
John, obviously, before the season, you and Jauan's camp came to a compromise to keep him around, keep him happy in some respect. When you look at potentially bringing him back, do you expect to be any closer in terms of, the discussions you had then and where that's at now?
Yeah, first of all, let me just speak to Jauan. Gosh, man, the passion that guy plays the game with is something I admire, and I always have. And this year was no different. He dealt with a lot of injuries throughout the course of the year, but Jauan always plays with the passion. We can always count on Jauan. We can move him around. He blocks. He does the little things. You can see by the way the other players respond. It's not because he plays the right way, and I think it frustrates other people. He makes us better. We'd love to have him back. We'll go to work to try to get that accomplished, and we'll see where that goes.